Okay. So I guess now officially, so let me do an introduction. So this is going to be a playtest of Abattoir 8, which is the free adventure that was published so far for Grimmerspace, which is a Kickstarter setting and adventure and set of adventures for Starfinder. Uh, so it uses the Starfinder rules plus a few new ones that they're coming out with, including new classes and this new adventure, among others. So I am going to be DMing. Or GMing, I guess, in this case. And my name is Taylor Campbell. Everyone else just want to introduce yourselves just for the audio? We can start with Remington. Or go ahead, Mathis.
I'm Mathis. I'm Taylor's younger brother-in-law. And that is probably the only thing that qualifies me to be here. There you go.
Also, your love of role-playing games.
Yes. Taylor got me into them, and I'm enjoying them immensely.
And then Remington?
Yeah, so I'm Remington. I have been friends with Taylor for a long time, since we were in the same area when we were going to college, and we played Dungeons & Dragons 3.5. I am playing a crypto monk today.
Okay. And Greg?
Yeah, so I'm Greg. I love role-playing games. I played them since I was, 12. Started with Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Ooh, there's going back a bit.
Back in the day, I still remember the cover of the player's handbook with some like crazy barbarian wielding a battle axe in like a fur speedo and a horned helmet and wearing nothing else. So yeah, I've played a lot of
flex, but okay.
Yeah, it's a great flex. The real ones will know. Real ones will know. Yeah, I played a lot of 3rd edition, 3.5, and 5th edition. Role-playing games are awesome. And I'm playing the AR cop. I'm not sure. I couldn't find like predetermined names, so I just decided to name my guy Dick Record, which is like Rick Deckard from Blade Runner, which I think makes a lot of sense. So there you go.
Dick Record. Can you spell Dick Record? Actually, you know what? That works perfectly, as you're essentially a private dick.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it like works on so many levels.
Yeah.
It's an inversion of Rick Deckard. It sounds like a porno name, and Dick, as in like Dick Tracy. So where it's just I couldn't not.
That's brilliant.
Okay. So let's see. Did I share it yet? Here we go. So I have just shared an image on other resources. Can everyone see it?
Yes.
Okay, so this comes with the setting of Grimmerspace. What you're looking at is the Gliding Rim Galaxy, or G-Rim, home of the Grimmers for G-Rim, and the setting for Grimmerspace is where it all gets its name, Gliding Rim Galaxy. So if you look at the image, it looks if you look at it kind of like a screw, the threads of the screw from below towards the bottom of the galaxy are called the gyre, which is an uncharted space from which spring endless unimaginable horrors that constantly plague the Grimmers. The head of the screw at the top has a center called the crux, which is essentially an organized, civilized cluster of systems, safe as you can expect to be in Grimmerspace. And that area is essentially where all the home planets of all of your polities or civilizations come from. If you spread out horizontally from the crux, you reach an area that they call the outer edge, which is a colonized but often wild space under frequent threat from the gyre. And in this vast, cold emptiness of the outer edge space that it's in this space that we find ourselves, and our characters are in an object that looks vaguely like a rusty flying saucer, hurtling at ludicrous speeds towards a fateful destination that we will certainly hear more about shortly. You are all riding inside what is called a slingshot ferry, a vessel that is equipped with life support, and that's essentially it. And it gets flung like a rock through space from one destination to another. Cheapest way to travel. There is a low technology computer, and that in this setting probably means it's about equivalent to the laptops or phones that we're all using. And it is built into a corner of the quote unquote ship. The main purpose of this computer is essentially to remind everyone where the front of the ferry is. There's a loose collection of sprinklers on the ceiling that occasionally drips sudsy bubbles that float around through the zero gravity air towards the grimy floor. The smell of industrial cleaners almost overpowers, but not quite, the stench of livestock, which this adventure booklet actually describes as smelling somewhat like excrement and fear. You can, and the reason it smells that way is these slingshot ferries are typically used to ship livestock. They're usually, although people do sometimes take them for cheap. Netting is hung around the walls for you guys to strap yourselves into for the ride, since there's no artificial gravity on a little vessel like this. It's impossible while strapped to this netting not to think about your backs being pressed up against just a few bare inches of metal alloy that separate you from the lethal vacuum of space. Gazing out equally spaced portholes in this little flying saucer, you can see the infinite emptiness between the stars. It's several hours during this journey until you reach your destination, so you all have plenty of time to reflect on the events that have led you to this point. So at this point, we'll go ahead and give the official introduction to our characters. Greg, you are playing an RCOP who we have named Dick Record, a specially trained law enforcement officer who has undergone intense physical and psychological testing on the mysterious crypt moons of the eminent spectrality, which is one of the polities in the Grimmerspace setting. It's actually not the polity from which you come from. You come from a polity called the Adian Combine. But the eminent spectrality essentially loans the service of training RCOPs. At the end of your training, you were gifted with your piece, your partner, an advanced weapon with the memories, personality, and about a half-pound of actual gray matter from a previously living RCOP. Your career has mostly been as an official bounty hunter for the Adian Combine, hunting down fugitives that have earned the ire of the Adian Combine but are in hiding outside of primary Adian worlds. So since you've already told us your character's name, could you tell us, if you've thought of one, the name of your piece, your partner, and a little bit of any other details we should know about your character?
Yeah. Happy to do that. So, I didn't think of a name for the like my piece. But yeah, I just sort of.
We could name him Ferris and Horde.
Yes, my piece is named Ferris and Horde. Here's the thing to understand about Ferris and Horde is, well, Dick Record, he prefers a subtle approach. He's a very silent man. You could say that he is a bit jaded. He's naturally, I would say, an inherently good person, but is conflicted about the potential moral ambiguities of retiring folks or killing people, even in the name of like control. But it's a job, and he does feel like it's important to do. Now, Ferris and Horde shares cynicism with Dick Record, but something that he is not is subtle, and where Dick Record would prefer a subtle approach, Ferris and Horde does things like sing out loud or make himself very obvious when like kicking a door in instead of like breaking into a place subtly. So that causes some
Friction.
I wouldn't say contention, friction, yeah, and leads to hilarity. But they haven't met a situation that they haven't gotten out of alive yet. So I guess something is working.
Cool. I like it. Absolutely. Okay. So then on to our next character, Remington. You are playing a crypto monk who is a subversive hacker on the dark web, whose mission is to uncover sinister alien influences on systems of power among Grimmers. After pirating enough classified resources and studying bootleg holovids, you begin to recognize reliable alien patterns hidden amidst the bogus conspiracy theories. You started collecting and building impossible blueprints called Gyrotech, which helps in your search to expose corrupted governments. And unfortunately, this often places you on the wrong side of the law, which in this case is how you ended up on this vessel in restraints under the custody of Dick Rickard. Strapped into the netting like everyone else, but could you please tell us, well, actually, let's see, you gave us your character name as well, but I guess for the recording, go ahead and tell us your name and a little bit of other details we should know about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Rand Hackthor, and just grew up. Let's see, and my code name is the Dragon. I have 2 dragon tattoos on my forearms, and red hair. I'm tall, lean but muscular, and I have a kind of like, at least most of the time, maybe not right now, I have like a VR alternate reality or headset on, kind of like watching the news. So I'm going about my daily things, but I try and stay fit, and I don't have qualms about doing things that may be illegal in some people's eyes, as long as I'm accomplishing my goal of saving the world or saving the universe from alien threats.
Cool. Awesome. So not afraid to get your hands dirty to get things done, as long as it helps save the galaxy. Cool. And then Mathis, you are playing so the character that we created for you is a Vody Marine, a hard-boiled soldier who has grown up in the most inhospitable conditions and has been neurally integrated with one of the most reliable weapons in the G-Rim galaxy. The official title is the Anti-Personnel Ordnance, or APO, but the nickname for this is Cannonback, essentially a Predator gun, shoulder-mounted gun that's actually connected to your nervous system. Comfortable with both close combat and ranged warfare, often at the same time, you've earned the Vody nickname Walking War. After completing your training, you took jobs that sent you across the stars, meeting every challenge with the same grim determination that served you in the Vodican Empire. And recently, you were instrumental in helping to detain and transport Rand Hackthor, noted hacker who was recently wanted by the Adian Combine, essentially taking the role of hired muscle. Can you tell us a little bit? Can you tell us your character's name and a little bit of details about yourself?
Yeah. My character's name is Jocko Willwink.
Nice.
Which, I don't know if you guys know who Jocko Willink is, but he's a Navy SEAL retired, who does a podcast, and Jocko Willwink is kind of, your typical battle-hardened Marine. I've got 2 tattoos as well. One with just the name of my former unit on it, and one with my mother's name on it. Yeah, but don't ask about her. Some
Okay.
say that when I went through the excruciating process of getting my my cannon back attached, that the muscles required to smile were lost in the process.
Ooh.
I'm a no nonsense kind of guy who thinks that women are kind of a, I guess, necessary evil. But don't worry, I went through a gay scare and decided that's not it. Um, yeah, Jocko is just kind of a no nonsense, hard boiled egg kind of guy.
Okay, sounds good. All right. So let's see. Oh, and one other thing I forgot to bring into the introduction. So obviously this is a horror game. Actually specifically they label for us nicely enough. They label the type and intensity of horror. Let me see if I can bring it up on the adventure. I think the main form of horror that we get in this game is that we're going to be seeing in this game is slasher horror. Here we go. So on the Grimmerspace horror chart, splatter and survival horror with, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 5 out of 5 intensity rating. So given that this is going to be a horror game, keep in mind that the safety word will be pineapple. The safety word is pineapple. If anyone feels uncomfortable and needs to stop, just say the word. All right. So the way that we all got to this point is that let's see. The way that we got to this point is Dick Record was hired by the Adian Combine to hunt down this hacker who had been exposing, essentially illegally exposing government documents and things like that he had downloaded on the dark web, which of course exposed conspiracies that tend to be inconvenient for the Adian Combine. So taking it as a job, Dick Record went out to essentially retire him, if we're using the vernacular right, and Jocko Willwink was also hired as essentially muscle by the Adian Combine to just make sure that everyone stayed cooperative. And so Rand Hackthor, for whatever chase scenes or games of cat and mouse that we played to finally get to this point, you were finally apprehended alive and brought to Lyria Station in the outer edge of the Gliding Rim Galaxy. And at that point, the investigation or the arrest kind of reached a standstill because you guys arrived almost 2 weeks ago at Lyria Station and have been waiting for transport to get closer to the core, to the crux of the galaxy since then, because no ships have been leaving or arriving at Lyria Station since that time. Dick Record, you have made no small showing of your consternation at this event, because this is the longest that you've ever had to hold custody for a single criminal. Typically, you're pretty fast about getting your quarry and coming back and returning them. So it makes you very uncomfortable to have to be responsible for providing a room and feeding this prisoner and all this stuff. So you had been coming in every day to the station commander to essentially to request, we need to get off of this station, and we can actually go into one of those scenes as you come up to the station commander, who obviously he's retired police himself, now working in a comfy job. He's gained weight, sitting at a desk with a cigarette in hand, and you come in again to request permission to get a vessel to leave Lyria Station. I can't believe it's you again.
Yeah, well, I think you're going to keep seeing me, boss, until you give me an update on those orders and we can get the hell out of this place. What do you have for me today?
Look, as I've told you before, we've lost contact with dozens of vessels out in space around the station. It's not safe to send any further vessels until we know what's going on. It's out of my hands.
Yeah.
And your piece speaks up and your piece speaks up and says, "I think we gotta show him what's going to be in his hands if he doesn't give us what we're after."
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was an innuendo there, Farrison, but let me handle this. Yeah, if I
I'll
had
innuendo your ass.
there we go. Yeah, there it is. It's right there. Yeah, so listen, if I had credit for every time that I've heard a bureaucrat tell me it's out of my hands, I'd be a rich man and I wouldn't have to be hopping all over the galaxy, dragging shit around like Rand here. But yeah, listen, talking about problems and danger, this is obviously a very dangerous individual, and the longer we keep him on a station like this, the longer his mind has to wander. And yeah, I can't guarantee that I can maintain custody. So at that point, he becomes your problem. So yeah, let's get the show on the road.
He says, you know, I could take him off your hands. I could simply give you 150 credits right now, and you could just hand them off to me. Save yourself the trouble.
I'm not exact.
Now you know that your reward for turning in this criminal, who's kind of a high-profile case, not only is worth much more than that just in the exposure, but the reward that you were promised was at least 1,000 credits for turning him in.
Yeah, that sounds like wait, what's this guy's name, by the way?
Oh, the commander?
Mm-hmm.
Commander Repscallion.
Rapscallion. What's his general? What are he's pudgy? You said. How tall is he?
Yeah. Let's say 5'6".
Okay. Yeah, look, Tiny. That's a great deal. I think if you multiply the 150 by about 20, that sounds about right. So as soon as you transfer that to my bank account, you've got yourself a deal.
And Farrison Horde says, tell him he's lost his touch, and in its place he's gained about 200 pounds.
I think he heard you. You heard him, right? You're fat. I'm sure you can figure that out every day. You look in the mirror.
Commander Repscallion absolutely heard both Farrison Horde and yourself, and he starts to grow red. He says, and then he says, "Fine. You want to get out into space so bad? You want me to find you a way off of this station? I'll find you one. Ooh, just you wait." And after you leave him, you get a buzz at your room shortly after that there is a transport waiting for you in the docking bay for I guess afternoon doesn't make sense on a space station within 200 hours.
All right. Then I'm assuming Jocko is there.
If you get a buzz at your room, Jocko is there. Where have you decided to keep Rand Hackthor?
Yeah, is there some sort of like holding? Is there some kind of like brig on the station?
There would be a brig, yes. If you trust their
I'd probably just keep him
watch
with me, honestly. I don't like to let my mark out of my sight. That would not make sense.
All right. So Rand, you're in the room, and Jocko is also in the room. I assume Rand is like restrained on the bed or something like that.
Just how we like him.
Okay.
All right.
I thought this session would be rated M for menace, violence, drug references. I didn't expect sexual content.
There's always sexual content. I mean, some people, violence and menace is sexual content. You know what I'm saying?
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah.
Depends on our audience.
Yeah, not me, but yeah. So hey, Jocko, not sure if you saw that buzz, but looks like we have a transport available this afternoon. Like I told you, if you ever have a problem with bureaucrats, you just have to rough them up a little, and that's how you get things done.
Okay. Now, Rand, I assume your weapons have probably been confiscated, but other than that, it really isn't worth the trouble to keep all your gear away from you, especially since as part of your character's abilities, you have a what's called a junk pool, which is essentially all this technology and blueprints that you've accumulated. What are you spending your time working on or doing while you've been essentially in custody?
I guess I'm just trying to look nonchalant, but I'm trying to like develop something to like hack into a near computer, or trying to get something that can get me free.
Okay. Let's see. So out of your gear, so out of this junk pool, you have the ability to essentially like put together and take apart different kinds of items. Essentially, as long as they're within a certain technological grasp, you're capable of building them with the pieces you have. You start out with with essentially a vibrating motion detector that can tell you when objects are coming towards you from a certain distance. Let's see if there's anything else that would help you as far as escaping from restraints. I think as far as what's available to you, the motion detector probably, as far as I'm seeing, I don't think there's anything necessarily that helps with escape, but the motion detector kind of lets you know. So first of all, it's not very visible because it just like attaches to your palm, and it kind of and it wakes you up if anyone comes within 5 feet of you. So that's handy. But then also, I believe it can tell you up to 60 feet away. It tells you when creatures are approaching towards you. So I think it kind of tells you even out in the hallway kind of what's coming and going. So I think this probably gives you the most information out of the available things that you could have.
Yeah, at least for now.
All right. So you're working with your tech, trying to look for an opportunity to escape. You're escorted within 0200 hours from that point to this vessel, we'll call it, which, as I mentioned earlier, looks kind of like a rusty flying saucer and is essentially loaded within a docking bay. And you can see out the portholes of the docking bay that there's essentially what looks like a giant railgun that the slingshot ferry can be loaded onto in order to be shot out into space. Now, going to Jocko Willwink, you as a spacefarer, you're kind of the most familiar, I guess, with qualities of space and travel. Do you have any questions about the method of travel that we're going to be taking?
None in particular. I'm pretty used to it all, seen it all pretty much. However, yeah, I don't think I have any specific questions about the ferry.
Okay. So in the so before we head off into space, I guess the travel brochure that you're given about your impending stop is essentially so before we head off, the travel brochure that you're given is that the next stop along the way, the closest station, is a station called Abattoir 8, which is essentially a processing station for food that orbits above a planet called Conviction, which is Adian Combine space. It's essentially Adian Combine owns the Abattoir, or I guess they contract the ownership of Abattoir 8 to a company called Hunger Inc. or Hunger Incorporated that essentially runs all the distribution and packaging of food. Conviction is they have a farming colony on the planet, and so they essentially send raw resources up to the planet. The planet processes food, sends it down to them, and then also sends food to other planets in the region. So it's also sends the food to Lyria Station. And so what you're given to understand is that this vessel is going to travel to Abattoir 8, from which you should be able to find passage to maybe another station or possibly to another planet from here. But essentially all you've been told is that in the last 2 weeks since you've been here at Lyria Station, there have been there's been lost contact with a bunch of vessels in the area. And so there hasn't been any other transportation going or leaving the station except for essentially this vessel that you've been told is going to send over to Abattoir Station. Abattoir 8. So in the time that you have before you leave, do you guys have any other, before you leave Lyria Station, anything else that you'd want to take care of on a populated station before you go?
No, I assume like starting inventory is like everything we'd need in terms of like feeding my piece and like rations and stuff like that. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, you have a essentially toothpaste tube sized nutrient paste that you feed the gray matter of your piece.
So great. Then no, I'm good.
And, okay. All right. Anyone else?
Yo, guys, can we pick up some food on the way out? I've been dying for some of those fried calamari balls.
Yeah, there's a McThunks in the docking bay. So you do know that the primary source of nutrition that Hunger Inc. Sends out from Abattoir 8 is thunk meat. Thunk is as described everyone's favorite ungulate because those are all non-Earth space names that we're allowed to use in a different galaxy setting. So ungulates are essentially a broad range of animals that include pigs, gazelles, anything that's like a hoofed mammal. So you can essentially think of them kind of as just a space blend of space pig. But yeah, so there's a McThunks is a little fast food terminal, one of those little fast food terminal shops in the docking bay. If you guys want to grab a warm meal before heading off into the cold vastness of space.
I mean, yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah. So, but I say to Rand while we're going though, dying for interesting phrase. You ever gonna tell me why I was sent after you in the first place? In other words, what are you dying for?
I'm dying for nothing, man. The man, you're working for the man, and the man is corrupt as any other system that we've been in, man. There are so many aliens, so many lizard people all over that you don't even want to know, man. You just live your normal life and leave the greater things to those that can handle it.
Yeah, well, hope you can handle about 30 years on a penal block, my friend.
We'll see how long that lasts.
Ferris Horde says, "See if he can handle my penile block." Just let me at him. Let me at him.
Just give me two. Can I get 2 double funks? I say to the terminal, I guess, or attendant or whatever.
Do you want funk fries with that?
Oh yeah.
So for 2 credits, you get funk food for everyone. Which I would say the smell of fried funk probably helps with the odor problem on the slingshot ferry. So you guys all load up on the slingshot ferry or strap in for your journey, and then are shot on a giant railgun out into space. And we reach the point that we were at earlier, where everyone's just kind of strapped in, reflecting on the vastness of space, heading towards Abattoir 8. It's at this point that so there's kind of just the silence as you guys are slowly spinning and rotating through space, and Ferris and Horde says, "Wow, it's quiet as the grave in here. I think we'd liven things up." And he starts singing 99 bottles of thunk on the wall, 99 bottles of thunk. You take one down and pass it around. 98 bottles of thunk on the wall. And at that point, Dick, you are looking for anything to distract from the awful 98 bottles of thunk that you know is about to come, because Ferris and Horde is not a quitter. And you pull out your personal comm unit. Personal comm units are communication devices that work essentially anywhere on the planet or station that you're on to communicate with people. You have a personal identification number. It has access to holovids, to games, to a flashlight. They're cell phones. Personal comm units are cell phones, but we can't call them cell phones because in the future and in other galaxies, personal comm units took over cell phone corporations. So they're called personal comm units. You pull out your personal comm unit and you see that you missed a message as you were loading up, getting ready to leave the station. Now, out in space, your personal comm unit isn't going to work, but you think that you could hook it up to the computer at front of the slingshot ferry, and use that, basically hook a LAN cable up to that computer and get the service on your personal comm unit.
An Ethernet cable.
An Ethernet, yes, correct.
Just muted, talking to myself. Yeah, I'm gonna go do that.
So the previously blank computer screen lights up with the logo of your device as you hook it up to it, and the little jingle plays. Ding 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 ding, personal comm units. And you turn on, and your device, the message comes up, and it is a message from your boss, who I guess let's call him Commander Guyan Rosling.
All right.
And the message essentially says, I heard that you were that you were sent on a vessel to Abattoir 8. Please tell me that's not where you're headed right now.
So can I respond at this point? Is
Yes.
this live, or are these just messages?
Would you like to call him or send a text-based message?
I'll call him. I mutter to myself, better get this over with.
Okay. And just to point out an interesting feature of your piece, you were able to adhere it to essentially any metal surface and leave it behind. So I assume that that's probably what you've done. You've left it on the wall while you went over to communicate with the machine, so you could leave the singing behind you.
While he's singing, I'm gonna be like, 99 bottles of you on the wall, Ferrison. And then I leave the room.
I won't be silenced.
I'm singing with him.
Oh boy.
And doing sit-up.
How is Jocko responding to the singing?
Jocko's left eye has been twitching for the last 5 minutes out of frustration. And his back cannon is slowly rotating as well, just like between different chambers. just like twitching in frustration.
Okay. So you call Commander Rosling, who answers and says, "Oh, sweet. I don't know much about the religion in Grimmerspace, so oh, sweet powers. I'm so glad to hear from you. I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you're not traveling to Abattoir 8.
I am traveling to Abattoir 8.
That is the opposite of what I wanted to hear. Listen, you got to find a way to get out of this as soon as you can.
So question. You have piloting skills, so I assume that's like
You do.
generally for spacecraft.
Yeah, let's actually play some Starfinder. Can you roll me a piloting check?
Yeah. So do you want me to, is there a dice emulator in here that like everybody can see, or do you want me to like roll physical, like my own dice?
If I can't trust you guys to roll your own dice, then I can't trust you guys to play role-playing games. I am happy to have you roll and tell me the result.
Okay. All right. And I'm assuming this is just a D20 check.
Yeah, so everything's it's very similar to D&D and other games that we play. You roll a D20, add your modifier, and get the result. Your piloting is +6.
Yeah. Gosh dang it. I'm an idiot. I didn't have my dice out. And I can't find my like nifty dice bag, so I'm just gonna find a dice emulator for now, and then I'll find it.
No worries. I have way too many dice. I have more dice than I'm going to need in this game because I was so excited. I just started collecting all my dice in the house.
It's in a random bag somewhere, you know. You said, okay, let's see, D20. Ooh. That's not going to be good. Let me tell you that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's below 10. So yeah.
Okay. So your thought is
It's a 9.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. So you're not sure. You've never been on a slingshot ferry before, but maybe you could find a way to steer it. But it would take you some time to figure it out. In the meanwhile, while you're looking over so you have a computer in front of you that has about maybe it does not have a lot of buttons. So there's not a lot to work with. But as you're kind of pondering over this, your commander says, "Listen, you need to figure out how to get out and go into this Abattoir 8. There's been some bad news. So you may have heard that there's been some I guess lost contact with vessels and stations from Lyria Station. Lyria Station actually received a distress call from Abattoir 8. That was the last contact that they heard from the station about 2 weeks ago." He says, and it's not good. You need to hear this. And he does some beeping on the other side, and a recorded message plays for your speaker. So actually, what happens is he messages you through the system a data file that has a recorded message that you're able to play for yourself, and the data file is listed as distress call 2915, Adian Combine Colonial Control, Combine Ag Hub Abattoir 8, Conviction Orbit, Jaren Grenego commanding. And the audio message goes, distress code 2915, distress code 2915. This is Commander Jaren Grenego for Adian Combine Ag Hub Abattoir 8, Conviction Orbit. In the last hour, violent behavioral instability broke out across our station, cause undetermined thus far. We had 428 on board, workers, crew. A good few of them just lost their minds and started... What? No. Well, I didn't hear anything. Oh, well, go check then. I'm recording. All right. No, hold on. Don't open it. Just go block the... No! And then there is the transmitting message cuts off. There's silence for a few moments. And then Then you Abattoir 8, this is Lyria Station. This is Lyria Station, 2915 acknowledged. Relaying to Combine support vessels nearest to your location. Do you have casualties? Abattoir 8, this is Lyria Station. Please respond. And then you hear the transmission is interrupted by a man's screams that flood the background like sudden static. And a deep voice starts to grate over the transmission. Lyria Station. Do I talk to you now? Because I'm just saying, and I just want to put this out there, that I think I really earned this. And you hear a buzzing saw that cuts through the air, growls to a higher pitch, with human cries rising along with it for several seconds before the transmission cuts off. And your commander, Rosling, comes back on and says, "That's bad news, isn't it?"
You always send me the most lovely assignments and news, Rosling.
Happy to be of help. And you think you can find any way to get out of going to that station? This is not the kind of work that you signed up for.
I mean, do we have any idea who this person is? There has to be voice matching software or something.
He says, unfortunately, none of our team have been assigned to that, and the fact that they didn't bring you on while you were there at Lyria Station tells me they haven't been putting a lot of work into really trying to investigate it. Obviously, if some of the people on the case had our training, probably would have cracked it by now.
My assumption is that what can I do a what is it? I'm trying to see if there's something like a history check. Maybe I do like a profession check.
Absolutely.
As a bounty hunter, and try to understand is this something like have I heard of like anything like this before? There's not a lot of details to go off of, but I'm trying to think
Absolutely.
if I like can remember any references or like if I would know.
I think in this game, I think the closest to history is a culture check. Profession as a bounty hunter would tell you like maybe situations that similar people to you have gotten in and out of before. Either way, your bonus is +7, so I think you could go ahead and roll it, and we'll see what info you come up with.
So I'll do the culture check first to see if I like have heard of this guy, and then I want to do another check about, and I would assume this is profession, so that I could maybe know a little bit about like bureaucracy surrounding what's this planet's name? It's
Conviction is the planet, and Abattoir 8 is the name of the station, and they are run. So Abattoir 8 is run by Hunger Incorporated, which was contracted by the Adian Combine, who is essentially your boss.
Okay, yeah. So let me make the culture check first, just to see if I've like this rings any bells. So that's a 20.
Nat 20
total. No, 20 total.
Okay, all right. And then roll the bounty hunter check.
Yeah, the bounty hunter check would be basically I'm trying to gauge, is there like money in this, and like could I work this to like make some money?
Sure.
Yeah. That's a 19 total.
Okay. Great. Pretty good rolls. So as for your recollection of things like this, the description of suddenly everyone just lost their minds and violence occurred sounds similar to a region close to the Gyre that you've heard of, and that most people have heard of, kind of as like a mythology called Murder Space. And Murder Space is essentially an area of space where people traveling near it or through it generally have to unwillingly strap themselves in during the voyage so that they don't kill each other, because there's just a high rate of violence that it invokes in people who travel near it. But this area of space is nowhere near that. So that's the only thing that you can recall that from history or from culture that kind of sounds similar. But there shouldn't be any reason for that to be what's going on here. As far as your bounty hunter check, you're thinking, okay, so this person who comes on and is apparently murdering staff at Abattoir 8, you think that you can go with that recording and go through the database on your personal comm unit and see if you can maybe come up with something as far as matching it to the database that you're familiar with. However, off the top of your head, it doesn't sound familiar, but you're thinking if it is a known criminal, then maybe you could make some good credits off of hunting them down. And even if it's not, if this person is maybe masterminding behind what's going on, then considering that there's been a lot of money lost with all the breakdown and shutdown from recent loss of communication, you could probably make some bank by turning him into the right people.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so I'm gonna respond to the commander, and I'll tell him. Wait, is it male or female?
It's we haven't decided yet, but let's say it's a he.
Okay, I'm gonna tell him. Yeah, no can do, sir. My guess here is that whoever this is, be it group or individual, taking them down is going to net me a pretty hefty payday, and you as well, both in terms of money and credibility. So I'm going to have to disobey your order, and I think I'm going to have to go check this out.
He says, well, I sure hope you know what you're doing. Whatever gifts the spectrality gave you, I hope they help. And he breaks transmission.
Typical.
So, all right. So, what information do you want to share with your prisoner and your accomplice as you head back, and they're still being held hostage on about 12 bottles of thunk, I think is where we're at.
Yeah.
12 bottles of thunk on the wall, 12 bottles of thunk.
Bottles of fun. Hey,
Harrison,
pass it around.
Harrison, cut the funk. We potentially have a new case here. Something that could potentially get us all killed.
He says, "Ooh, you're making my parts tingle."
Yeah, making your gray matter tingle. Do you remember what it was like to have parts? Sorry, low blow. Yeah.
Why don't you come give me some nutrient paste and while I mull on that.
I'll feed him some nutrient paste. But I say to Jocko,
at least the one thing you've noticed is at least he can't sing when you're feeding him.
Okay. I squirt that nasty toothpaste into his receptacle.
Yeah. It looks like wet cat food.
Sick. All right. Listen, Jocko, Rand, apparently we're headed straight for a giant shitstorm. Abattoir, is that what it's called? Abattoir?
Abattoir, yeah.
Yeah, Abattoir. So apparently the station we're headed to has been hijacked by some sort of madman or madmen. Heard something similar to a chainsaw, which for me means a lot of money. And plus it sounds like we can help some people out. So we're headed there. And looks like you, my friend Rand, escape the veritable hangman's noose for as long as we're taking care of this situation. Now, I'm going to be really straight with you. I didn't get a lot of information about why I'm bringing you in, and you haven't been very forthcoming with me. But if you are, and you're willing to help, my guess is I could probably broker a deal that gets you off of your charges, because the amount of money lost from my employer far outweighs any damage that you could have done up to this point in time. So if we can mitigate that, there could be something in it for you, is what I'm saying. Yeah, so essentially what I'm asking you is not if you're willing to come along, but whether or not I leave your ass inside the ship once we get there, handcuffed, for somebody to potentially find and chainsaw, or if you want to help us take care of this and potentially buy your freedom.
Can I get any promises?
Yeah, I promise that I'm not lying. Look, you've been in this business long enough to know that any sort of piece of digital paper I give you is complete crap. Actions talk and money talks, but apparently you don't have enough of that to avoid being caught, or at least by somebody above me off. So it looks like the only option you have here is to do a good deed.
I'll help you out. See how it goes.
So this is, I want you all to know, this is my voice of like uppercase, lowercase, uppercase, lowercase. Can I get any promises? That's what you sound like. Okay. I'm going to trust you on this, and sure, I guess you could try and run away, but actually, let me play the recording for you. And I play the recording for them of the guys getting chainsawed and screaming.
Yep.
Joy. Seems like he is a lot of fun at parties.
Yeah, and you're going to be his party if you run away from me. I can't really protect you. Plus, yeah, I think there's strength in numbers. So that's where we're headed. I'm not going to turn this ship around. Payday's too large. That's where we're headed. Any concerns, comments, questions?
Jocko, he turns to Dick and he says, "Can I talk to you for a second?" He pulls you kind of to the side, and he goes, "I don't love the idea of a potential bogey coming with us on this mission."
Well, I mean, you're fine to waste him and pay the associated fine and forfeit the bounty, but I think he could potentially be helpful. Sounds like a pretty hairy situation.
Jocko kind of just furrows his brow and thinks for a second, then goes, "Okay, he can come along, but don't think I won't waste him if he becomes a liability for 1 second."
Oh, I'm counting on it. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Remington.
Oh, I was actually just gonna say, I love how we're having all these private conversations, and it's literally this one room flying saucer with no walls or accommodations. So somehow
Yeah,
somehow we're keeping all this information to ourselves. But
I assume I had AirPods when I was listening to the message,
yeah,
or something like that.
It's the magic of role playing games. If you say that you take someone aside, no one else can hear that conversation.
Yeah, those are the rules. We don't make them. We just follow them.
Yeah, Paizo makes them.
I don't know. I just work here.
All right. Any other plans or conversation? I assume at this point, when you make this decision, Dick, do you dissolve the restraints for Rand?
Do you take the fuzzy handcuffs off?
The pink fuzzies. Yeah, I'd go over to him and do the restraint. So what kind of hacker, what types of information would he have access to? Like, would he be able to, based on my understanding of him, would he be able to help me find more information? Like, basically what I'm trying to do, could we combine our skills to get more info?
Yeah, there's another Ethernet port he could plug into the computer at the front.
Yeah. So you asked for promises. I can't give that. What I can say is that I will cautiously trust that you're interested in saving your own life, and therefore will not try To screw me. So I'm going to take these restraints off, and I need your help finding some more information so that we all don't die. Is that something you'd be willing to help with?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even attracted to you, so I won't screw you at that.
Yeah, I've heard that before. And as I undo the restraints, and I
Ferrison says, "I've heard a lot of times."
oh my gosh, is there like a bathroom in this place that's a separate compartment?
There's a drain in the floor that leads presumably to a septic tank.
Okay, I tell him. I tell Ferrison, I'm going to strap you to the underside of that drain in a second if you don't cut the peanut gallery comments. And yeah, I make my way over to the computer to start finding some information.
Okay, so you guys are both hooked in at the head computer. You're running your voice recognition search for known convicts, criminals, and stuff. Comes up empty. No one with a criminal history seems to match the voice, at least as far as the recording can tell you. Rand, are you running? What kind of information do you want to try and find out?
I guess I'm probably reaching out to some of my criminal contacts, like surfing the dark web.
Sure.
Reaching out that way to figure out kind of like what is happening on that station.
Sure. So you do find out some info that some of your crypto monk contacts have been kind of following the fact that there have been these disappearances for the last couple weeks. You haven't been able to do as much digging because you've been under observation, but some of your friends have been finding out about these like missing or I guess lost contact with vessels and stuff like that out in the space. Seems like from what you can find out, and actually I will have you do a computers check to see the extent of what information you find.
Okay. Yeah, I rolled a 19 and I get a +5, so 24.
Yeah, 24. That's pretty good. So one, you actually find that your friends have kind of traced the beginning point or the culminated the point that kind of seems to have begun this cascade is there was a report from a ship called Scavenger's Voice that apparently they reported that they found something, but they found something of value, but they wouldn't tell anyone. It was just kind of like a preliminary report of like, we found something of value. We're going to return it to, to civilization for better analysis. And then after that time, the Scavenger's Voice lost contact, and then several other ships in the area around there, one by one, started to lose contact. And then Abattoir 8 lost contact about 2 weeks ago. Was I guess the most recent station or vessel that lost contact or that no one's heard from. So that's kind of what you found out. You've also found that there have been reports from Conviction, which is the planet that that Abattoir 8 orbits and ships to and from. They also have been reporting. So contact hasn't been lost from them. They've actually been sending messages out, although they're kind of a small community. But kind of local news has been that there has been an increase in violence and murders and stuff like that relative to what normally would be seen in a small colony. And the other thing that you're able to get from someone who wants to help is you get kind of schematics for Abattoir 8. And I will, so just some rough schematics. So I'll share that to the other resources tab. There we go. So you guys should be able to see the overall, the overview of Abattoir 8. So there are there's two large processing silos, a docking bay, a control tower, and a recycling plant. And those are essentially the main components. more specific maps of the inside are a little more difficult to come by. Basically, you get the schematics of this is the pattern of space station that Abattoir 8 was built after.
Okay.
So it's at this point,
And that's all we know.
That's what we're able to find out. So you get the overall basic floor plan. You find out more details about what's been going on for the past couple weeks, and it's at this point that you actually reach the proximity of the abattoir of the station. So let me.
Are there any escape pods on this ship?
Are there any what?
Escape pods?
Absolutely not. It is an extremely low tech. Essentially, you could consider this that they took a cargo container and slapped some oxygen tanks onto it and put a laptop in the front and said, "This is a spaceship." It's very, very simple.
Nice.
Yes.
Sorry. While we're on the computer, can I?
So what's
Can I send a message to my captain? I'm not going to respond to it, but if he replies, but essentially say like, have secured current mark cooperation in investigation, request full pardon upon supplementary mission completion. Yeah.
Just
I
kind
assume
of getting the ball rolling on that.
Yeah. But I'm not going to let Rand know.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Was someone else about to ask a question?
I was just wondering how we stop.
Okay. Let's see. So I just shared another image, which is what essentially you guys will see looking out the portholes. So outside the grimy porthole, a half dozen vessels drift in a loose sphere around a worn, jury-rigged ship with the name Scavenger's Voice stenciled on its side. Your ferry groans as it slows and turns, gripped and spun by the station's magnetic field. The unhurried spin of docking reveals bodies, with and without suits, slowly tumbling through space away from the clustered vessels. The spin continues, and Abattoir 8's arrival dock edges into view. Two walkways connect the dock to massive twin silos that comprise the bulk of the Ag Hub. Lights gutter within the walkways, and they vent gases into space intermittently, but none leaks more than the sloped, low-grav tube that runs at a 45-degree angle to a small cylindrical control center. A recent explosion seems to have ruptured the tube midway. A corpse thuds off your window, plunk, before whirling from sight. Closer now, you note that many hatches on those drifting ships lie just open to space. Motion draws your eye. A nude, weightless man pulls himself up to a ship's already open airlock. He smiles in the airlessness, waves cheerfully at you, and kicks himself into space. Within seconds, he is frozen, hand forever raised, and floats into the void. The ferry completes its final turn. Bodies and ships rotate out of view as it screeches to a stop. Clamps clang, vents hiss, and the pull of the station gravity asserts itself. The end of the ferry pops open, revealing a docking bay, and beyond the flickering overheads of the landing bay, deeper within the station, you can hear the vibrating burn of a saw whine. Also, what happens is the monitor on the computer changes from your personal comm units to an automated video that begins playing, and a professional-appearing woman with short bobbed hair is displayed. And she says, "Welcome to Abattoir 8. All food must proceed to its pens immediately. If you are a worker or a guest of Hunger Incorporated, please wait for the following informational video." And you can see through the open door to the docking bay that there is a larger monitor on the wall. It is shattered in one corner and blacked out for most of the screen. Nevertheless, it is playing in sync with the screen, with the video that is showing on the screen of your slingshot fairy. You can see that otherwise in the docking bay, there are flickering, sputtering lights that have been shattered and are occasionally shooting sparks into the room. You can see that there is a big pile of furniture and debris piled up in the room, closer to the large double doors at the other end of the room. And you can see that there is splatters of various fluids against the walls, and overall it looks like there was essentially a riot in here, as well as maybe further details when you enter the room. And let me go ahead and share what you guys can see on the map so far.
I definitely turn to Dick and I say, I think I'm gonna need my weapons.
I say to him, yeah, of course. And by all means, if you want to run away, this seems like the ideal place to do it. Yeah. I think you're stuck with me, partner. Also, question about the ship. I'm guessing that these things, that the slingshot fairies can't go anywhere unless they're like launched by one of those rail guns.
So you essentially landed on one, so that is kind of what magnetically hooked you in. So technically, it could be launched from where it's at, but you would have to access the computer and see if you could get it to essentially be launched.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what I can do here. I mean, I can use my computer skill, but I'm gonna try and like essentially lock the ship for mine or Willwink's like voice command in order to launch. Yeah, can I do that?
I see. Okay. So you're trying to access the computer, but it is currently preoccupied with the video. So there is essentially a Hunger Inc. logo that is just kind of displaying, and it's counting down to playing the welcome video. If you want to wait around for the welcome video and then access the computer when it's done, your understanding is that we'll return to the regular computer access after the welcome video is done.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I assume I want to do that too because I also want to see if we can slave the computer to see if we can get like run diagnostics on the station.
Sure.
Too before we go in.
Okay. Is anyone else doing anything else? Obviously, are you guys able to see the map with so far you can see the docking bay, and there's a hallway out. There's a hallway beyond it through the double doors, but the rest of the station so far is blacked out because you haven't seen what's there yet.
Do we have any spacesuits, or is this?
So in Starfinder, all armor that is at least first level, which is everything you guys have, is equipped with spacesuit capabilities. So it includes environmental protections against essentially most non-breathable air and radiation and things like that for up to 24 hours. And so if that becomes important, we can keep track of how long it takes. But essentially, this is breathable air right now, but if you want to, you can go ahead and activate your environmental protections now, and it'll just start running.
Okay. Because I think I'll start heading out, maybe looking for a terminal.
Sure. Okay. There's definitely a terminal in the docking bay. Let's see. There's a terminal in the docking bay, and there's that larger screen that is playing the welcome video as well, which is essentially counting down. But of course, the screen is cracked and mostly blacked out. You can see that there are kind of reddish emergency lights that are running, kind of like lights on the floor. Because which are kind of standard routine for when the main power is out, or if the room detects that the lights aren't working appropriately, it'll turn on these emergency lights instead. Would you
Are
like
they going
to?
right or left?
You
out of
you
the
guys aren't.
door?
So the main 9 by 9 square room that you guys start in is the slingshot ferry itself, and then the kind of semicircle room that you guys come into after that is essentially is one big docking bay. And actually, there's a description for that.
The doors are already open, right? Like you said, they're like hissed open.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to
So-
know whatever direction they head. I want to put Ferris in facing on the wall, like facing the opposite direction, the direction they don't go in.
Oh, like you want to plant him on the wall?
Yeah.
Because also, to keep in mind, one of your items of equipment is called the Arcop Duster, which it's essentially a coat that has metal worked into it that you can actually attach your piece to anytime you want. Yeah, if you want to do that as well.
Yeah, I do because I think I can do perception checks through him.
Okay.
If he's like
Cool.
looking in a certain direction.
Yeah, he can keep an eye on things. So when you enter the loading dock, you see busted plastic chairs, overturned benches, and desks stacked high. What's up? Yes? Yeah, you can touch my dice. My kid really likes dice.
So cute.
He's a little me. Okay, so busted plastic chairs, overturned benches, and desks are stacked high. Splintered shipping pallets and toppled vending machines, their contents littering the floor. Mute testament to a desperate last stand, a failed attempt to barricade this bay from the rest of the station. Nearby, the stench of spoiled meat escapes stacks of shrink-wrapped... Yes, you can have it. Let's see. Shrink-wrapped boxes and a large poster beside a closed door in a corner of the room proclaims, "Have yourself a slab of delicious thunk." The poster depicts a chop-licking thunk, everyone's favorite ungulate, prancing merrily toward a tenderloin already sizzling on a grill. A second door directly across the room slides open, and the light beyond... actually, I'll get to that part in a second. First, I'm going to share with you guys this delicious thunk poster, which is so graciously provided for the adventure.
Dude, love me some thunk.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's favorite ungulate.
That's a thunk.
So thunks are cannibals because he looks excited to eat that thunk.
He sure is.
I always get the 20-piece McThunknet.
So, second door directly across the room slides open, and the light beyond frames a thunk, but nothing like the clownish depiction from the poster. This tremendous, muscled specimen stands still and at peace. It stares at you enigmatically through its one remaining eye, black as the void, and although its breath rumbles in its chest with an animal growl and a forest of electrical burns laces its sides, it radiates an almost palpable wisdom and dignity, devoid of malice or need. The beast seems to have seen enough, turns, and trots off. Okay, let me help you go potty. So let me just tell you, in this pile of wreckage, you find a bunch of weapons that were left behind from the last stand, and I'll let you guys figure this out while I'm helping my kid. So there is an Ember Flame Dashko, a longsword, a tactical dueling sword, a tactical pike, a tactical spear, and a Thunderstrike Pulse Gauntlet. So a bunch of melee weapons. And then there's also 2 fire extinguishers and a dispenser of bonding epoxy, which is essentially future super glue. So I'll let you guys talk about if you want to grab certain things, and you can refer to the equipment list on the Starfinder rulebook for the weapons if you want. I'll be back in just a minute.
What do you guys want to call dibs on?
The list went a little bit fast for me, but I can use any of the melee weapons or the long arms.
Yeah, I'm not very good with melee weapons, so
I think I'm incredible with melee weapons. Give me 1 second.
I'll take that pulse fist looking thing though.
The pulse rifle or whatever, pulse pistol.
No, it was like a fist thing. I don't know exactly what it was.
Oh yeah, proficiencies in light, heavy armor, shield, blah blah blah. The sword seems sick though, because I've got the cannon back, so I've got both hands free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Get the sword. Get the sword.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Does anybody have the? Let me go pull the book up too.
Yeah, I'm looking.
That was in the drive, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Pulse Gauntlet, Thunderstrike Pulse Gauntlet.
Can you use those?
I can use. No, I can't. You guys should use that. I can only use basic stuff.
I think I can use those.
I don't really need a weapon because the piece is like pretty OP. Honestly,
How can I tell if I can actually use something or not?
it should be. So if you scroll down to feats and proficiencies on the second page, it'll be on the left-hand side. It should say what you're proficient with, and then
Here we go. Yeah,
Yeah.
light heavy armor, shields, basic/advanced melee weapons.
you
and
could
long-
use the Pulse Fist.
Yeah, long slash or small/long arms, grenades, and heavy weapons. I think anything that covers a lot. Okay, what's the pulse disc? I'm sorry.
It's a Pulse Gauntlet.
Pulse gauntlet. That sounds pretty
That
sick.
sounds badass.
Yeah, it does sound badass. I might look that up in the rule book while we have a second. Chapter 7 is weapons.
Just want a picture. Yeah.
Yeah, kinda. Right?
They have pictures in the weapons list or weapons part of the book.
Right.
But I didn't see the pulse thing or whatever.
Oh, did you look
Okay.
at it? I'm looking at it right now.
Sorry, I'm back. So Arden went potty on the floor, unfortunately.
Oh no!
It'll be okay though.
So, it was a fast list. I don't remember all of it.
That's fine. Here, I'll give you guys again. So there is an Emberflame Dashko, which a Dashko, if you guys saw the cover of the Starfinder book, a rule book, it's a weapon that the lizard people usually use. The what are they called? The Vesk. So the Dashko is basically a long pole with 3 laser knives that come out of it, essentially. There was a long sword, a tactical dueling sword, a tactical pike, a tactical spear, and a Thunderstrike Pulse Gauntlet. And then there were 2 fire extinguishers and a dispenser of bonding epoxy.
Dude, I'll take the glue and the fire extinguisher. You know, gotta have stuff around.
Cool.
Okay.
So I was just looking at my character sheet, and it says that I'm basically proficient in a lot of different weapons. But
You are, as a Odie Marine.
yeah. So since my weapons are my religion, I'm basically a Mandalorian. I'm
This
gonna
is the way.
Exactly. Is there a way that I could kind of like maybe roll perception on what I would personally choose as a melee weapon, or like what I think I would be? 'Cause it's kind of tough. I don't really.
Right. I think from the available weapons, let me actually pull up the rule book itself. I think the Emberflame Dashko is probably the best bang for your buck as far as melee weapons, but there might be some drawbacks to it. Let me just go over to the equipment zone.
Yeah, I'm looking at that in the rule book, but I'm actually not finding weapons. I don't know where weapons are.
It's about page.
Yeah, 170.
Yeah, it's under equipment.
Right. I've been looking at transport. Here we go. Now we're talking.
these have like levels on them. So does that mean we need to be that level to use that?
No, those are essentially for recommended, like when you should encounter them. But there's no restrictions on what weapons you can use once you've found them.
Okay.
They're kind of like GM guides.
I'll take the
Mhm.
pulse gauntlet
Cool.
and maybe the tactical spear.
Okay. Let me see. So this is an Ember Flame Doshko.
Here we go.
Pick it
Here
out
we
on
go.
this list. Did you find it?
Yeah, so it's a two-handed weapon.
Here we go. Yeah.
Level 2. The damage is 1d8.
Fire.
Oh, fire damage.
Fire damage. It's the same as lasers also do fire damage in this game. And on a critical hit, you inflict a wound, which could be like slicing off a hand, stabbing through an eye, things like that. And it has a built-in battery, so it's a powered weapon. And I guess every time you attack with it, it uses 1 out of its battery life of 20. So then after you use it all up, you would need to get a new battery.
And those are pretty common. They're lying around on the floor like Call of Duty or
Yeah, it looks like a bunch of people used them in a previous fight, and then the weapons got left behind, but the bodies got taken.
Cool.
This might actually be a good time, if you want to, for our RCOP to use one of his cool abilities. So you have an instinct pool, which allows you to spend essentially your detective instincts to learn things about what's going on around you, or to essentially pay attention to stuff that your training allows you to learn. So one of your instinct pool abilities is called Crime Scene Secrets, which allows you to spend your instinct point to spend a minute investigating a crime scene or like a murder scene, and make a special class check to learn certain details about what happened here. But since you only have 1 point in your instinct pool, then I'm not sure if you want to spend it now or if you want to save it, because some of the other things you can use it on are to improve your initiative, or to improve
Not be flat-footed. and
not
some
be
other
flat-footed.
things. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know
I
if you
think I'm
want to
gonna
use it or save it.
save it. I'll save it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I will invest or whatever. What's the role in this?
Investigate. What actually? Let's see. They don't have investigate. What do they have?
Perception, I would guess. It's like,
Must be it. Let me see. I thought there was
unless, or
something.
maybe it's profession.
Profession bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would allow you to do that.
But first, we were gonna. So I was just gonna try and use the ship's computer to like.
Oh right, yeah. Sorry,
Figure
I
some
didn't
things out.
finish. I didn't finish the welcome video. So who's watching from the ship and who's watching from the docking bay?
I'm watching from the docking bay.
I tell Willwink, you keep an eye on him, referring to Rand. And then I have my people just watching the opposite hall from where they are.
Okay.
And then I'm the ship.
So the video resumes. Let's see. And the professional-looking woman comes back on the screen, and she says, "What's the secret to our delicious thunk meat? It's people. People like you who work hard to process and deliver nutritious thunk to millions of customers galaxy-wide." And there is a well-built woman who appears on the screen with some wearing some working gear, and the subtitle underneath reads, "Lou Barton, Employee of the Month." And she says, "I'm Hunger Incorporated." And then she saws into this off-screen slab of meat, and there's blood and gore spraying all over her, and the screen quickly cuts back to the professional-looking lady. She says, "Here at Hunger Incorporated, we value hard labor and feeding people." And the screen changes again to look at an enormous, well-built, pale man with bloodshot eyes, and the subtitle underneath says, "Vargas Thrask, Assistant Loading Dock Manager." I'm Hunger Incorporated. And he lifts up this enormous crate labeled Thunk to Conviction, and it looks like he's about to stumble over, and the screen again quickly cuts back to the professional-looking lady. Our shipping department is sure to help you with all of your off-station needs. Make sure to follow the clearly marked corridors and all safety instructions if you have business in our now health code compliant meat or grain processing silos. Please be respectful of business hours for the control tower and make sure to comply with all requests from in-house security staff. On behalf of Hunger Inc., we hope your day is great at Abattoir 8. And then she bites into this big, juicy thunk steak, and the video just continues on for a few seconds as you watch her continue to eat this steak bite by bite, and there's a little bit of red juice that dribbles down from the steak down her chin and gets onto her professional coat, and then the video does eventually cut off, and it's about that time that the cleansing sprinklers at the ceiling of the slingshot ferry start spraying the vessel.
Like inside the slingshot ferry?
Yeah, they start spraying and cleaning the tank because usually what's in there is thunks, and so usually have to clean up afterwards.
Nice.
So I assume that as this happens, you step out of the vessel after getting sprayed with a bunch of suds, and while you wipe that off, eventually come back in and then try to access the computer now that the video is done.
Yeah.
Okay. So with a few more drips of suds dripping off of your RCOP duster, you access the computer and make me a computers check.
Yeah. Oh, but first, when the video was playing, when she said, "What's our secret to thunk meat?" and then she says, "People," I wanted to just say really loudly so everybody could hear. Phrasing? Anyone? Phrasing? Okay.
I see you caught that.
So that's a 10 total.
10 total. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're trying to essentially lock down the shuttle and say, like, don't ship out unless we give a voice command. And you attempt to do that, and a message comes up that says access to launching ferries is restricted to the control tower.
Also, can I do a perception check on the guy's voice in the? I don't know if this is intentional or not, but that guy's voice in the video, the loading dock manager dude, sounded like very similar to what the voice you used on the transmission. So can I do a perception check to see if they're like similar or not?
Okay. A bounty hunter check?
I don't know which one is better. Like, do I need to do perception or bounty hunter?
Either one. I would say you could use your bonus is obviously higher for bounty hunter, and I would say that since you're trying to like track down, is this my quarry, that it would make sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's a 21 total.
Woo! All right, you win the big bucks. You think that is the same voice, and if that's the case, the guy that you saw on the video was huge.
Like how big?
You guys have seen Back to the Future?
Yeah.
Do you remember whenever they show like Biff standing up next to Marty and he's just like towering over him?
Yeah.
It's like that.
Ooh. Is it like Back to the Future 2 when he has like the thing that makes him grow taller?
Yeah, that. He's a big boy.
Okay, I tell the other people, or I tell the other two, I think Beefcake there in the video is the same person we heard over the distress signal.
Okay, so I uploaded another image of the map with the door across from where you guys were opening up after you saw that big old thunk that trotted away, and since he moved away, then you guys would be able to see behind him because there was another open door. So I immediately have to replace what I just sent. So that's everything that you guys have been able to see so far. And the little white blocks are the doors. You guys have divvied up the weapons and equipment amongst what you saw. There's like vending machines and table or chairs and stuff that have formed a pile that have kind of fallen apart. Oh, you tried the computer check to see if you can control the launching of the ferry, and it told you that the control tower has control over that, so you weren't able to affect that.
I think Remington, was doing something similar.
Can I look for a terminal to like try?
Yes, you can find a terminal to hook up to.
Yeah, see the internal systems and see what's up and running and what's not.
Sure, absolutely. Make me a computer's check.
Okay. That is a 12.
So you can see that there is a security system set up here in the docking bay, and you also see that all the computer systems that you have that you can try and access here from this terminal are connected to the docking bay here. So you don't have access to like the silos or the control tower or anything like that. Everything's on a localized circuit here. However, you can see that there is a you actually can look up. You look up as you're looking at the terminal and what you have access to. You look up in the room and you see that in front of all the doors which you can see three docking doors, 2 doors that lead to a corridor, and then the big double doors that opened up that you saw the thunk through. And in front of all the doors that you can see, there is a security camera, but when you try to access them, it denies access.
Okay. Is there any way I can try to like use my hacking skills to get past the localized circuit?
I think that was the computer's check that you just rolled, and
Okay.
you had a total of 12, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to say from this terminal, given that it's been like, there was a riot in here and a bunch of equipment was smashed, and you can see like loose wires actually sticking out of the walls and stuff like that. I'm going to say that from this terminal, you were not able to gain access to the security cameras, probably based on even with your hacker skills, probably based on the fact that the terminal is operating at about 50% capacity based on like the smashing that it received.
Okay. Looks like we're gonna have to move farther in to be able to see what is happening at least with the computer wise.
Okay.
Guys.
You can see that in the room that where the doors opened up, where the thunk was, there's a bunch of looks like there's a bunch of reddish splatter on the floor, probably blood that dried a long time ago. And you can also see Mathis, your character, Jocko, has built into his armor infrared sensors. So you're actually the only one here that is able to see something. Your infrared sensors actually pick up that there's some kind of fluid on there's some kind of fluid on the ground, not blood, that only shows up on your infrared sensors. And it actually appears that someone wrote something in this fluid on the ground.
Okay. Yeah. From what I know about what comes up on black lights between blood and other things, I'm a little skeptical, but I approach it and I try to read it. So that's in the little room, like directly in front of where our ferry docked, right?
Yeah.
With all that blood in it.
Yes, and you can actually see that there's something written on the floor on the map. You should be able to see if you
really?
open up a big version of it.
Woof.
I mean, I don't know if you can actually if we can actually read what it says. Like, I don't know what it says on the map. But there's something written here in the adventure, and I'm trying to.
It says stay, from what I can see.
Yeah, I was going to say stay or star on that one, and then I see a couple of other ones as well.
Yeah, it does that one, here we go. So it does say stay.
Nice.
You can actually see in the docking bay, which is the big semicircular room. You can see there's someone has written on a different wall in the same fluid, leave.
I'm sorry.
So one room says stay, another room says leave, and you're actually the only one who can read that.
Okay, so I turn to them and I let them know. I say, someone seems to have left a message in both of these rooms. This one in the room directly across from our ferry says the word stay, and the one in the docking terminal says leave.
Mathis, can you actually make me a medicine check?
Sure. Oops. Okay, and then sorry.
Your bonus is +3.
+3, so I got a 16 total.
Nice. So yeah, you actually so you're looking at this fluid and looking how it shows up on your infrared, and no one else seems to be able to see it, or at least you can't see it with your eyes, but you see it on your monitor. You actually think that this fluid might be lymphatic fluid.
Lymphatic fluid.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The other blood.
Okay.
Actually, two options. It could be lymphatic fluid, or it could be cerebrospinal fluid.
Okay.
But you don't think it's what you initially thought it might be.
Yummy.
Okay, it's not jizz. That's good.
I think we should have done move control. Get more of an idea of what's happening.
I just let them know that there are things written in both of the rooms, and that it seems to be some sort of lymphatic or spinal fluid that it's written in.
Delightful.
Where does it say leave?
It says leave in the docking bay, like in the docking terminal. The first semicircle. The first. So that's an interesting question, because I actually see two words in this room, Taylor. There's one on the left side and one on the right side.
Okay. So the other one that you see is also kind of painted in this same fluid, only you can see. There is a cartoon painted in this fluid that looks as if it was maybe done by a child, and based on a quality, and it depicts a smiling family of station workers with X's for eyes.
Okay, I communicate this disturbing portrayal of a family to my colleagues.
Yeah, where?
So is that going to be on the right side, or is that going to be on the left side, Taylor? Coming out of the slingshot ferry.
Right. So it's in the dock. So it's in the docking bay. So the room with blood says stay. On the right side of the docking bay says leave, and on the left side is the cartoon.
Okay. That's what I tell them.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with Rand. We need to make our way to the control room, although it seemed like the regular access tunnel has been compromised. I believe we can. I mean, if we went into one of the silos and made our way up, we could potentially get to the control room as well. So, can I look at? It looks like there are two other doors in here. Can I look on the right? I assume it's like another dock. Is there like a ship attached to it, and can I like see inside?
Sure. Looking at these other big double doors, the one on the right looks like it does have another slingshot ferry on it, and you can get the doors open, but it's empty. You do see what looks like a blood trail that leads from these doors deeper into the station, and similarly, you see blood trails from the big barricade pile that was left in this room. So it looks like bloody trails leading from the empty slingshot ferry and from the barricade. And then the third set of double doors, looking like it leads to a dock, is airlocked shut, and it seems to be that there's no other ship outside of it.
Okay. Yeah. Let's make our way to the right, I guess. I just start heading that direction. I'm not one for many words, so yeah.
Sure.
Wait, actually, where did the thunk go?
So the thunk was in the big bloody room, and there was an open double door behind it, and it walked out that door and then it was lost from view.
Maybe let's follow the thunk.
Okay.
Where does it look
agree.
like? So where does it look like the animals usually go? Like they're probably not going. Ooh, actually, the silos and stuff are over there. Yeah, let's follow the thunk and see where it went.
Okay. So you go through this bloody room and go into the hallway, and you look to the left and look to the right, and there are two closed doors on either side, and you're pretty sure thunks don't know how to open doors.
Okay. Is there another set of double doors in front of us though too?
There is.
And there are no windows for those?
No.
Blood trails?
Yeah, it looks like it leads through. It looks like it leads through the room that you came from. From the double doors that you just walked through, under the double doors in front of you.
Well, it looks like control and silo access is to the right, but let's check these double doors first, I guess.
Okay.
Is my motion sensor picking up anything other than us?
So the motion detector gives you blind sense in a 5-foot range around you, and then when objects are moving towards you within 60 feet away, it beeps. So I will say that a couple times over the past minute or two, your motion sensor has beeped a little bit, kind of telling you, like intermittently on and off. So it's beeped a couple times intermittently, telling you that something has maybe been moving towards you or moving away from you and kind of going back and forth. So maybe not directly coming towards you, but like just occasionally moving in your direction as part of moving maybe in other directions.
Okay.
So let me share what you see after opening the next set of double doors. So oddly enough, what happens is you come up to the doors, and you come up to like the little access pad to like say open the doors, and you push it, and it gives you like a little like a denied sound, and then about 2 seconds later, it does open up. All right. So you open up that other set of double doors. So if you can see the image that came through, you open up the door. You see that there is a security scanner arching over the doorway in front of you. You see the blood trail lead through the doorway into the room, and kind of like weaving in between some security tape things that are put up, the like kind of the lines that people have to wait through, the TSA and that kind of thing. There's some lines over there. The blood trail kind of winds around those and leads to the other side. And you see all that for a moment, and then when the door opened, it uses these like hydraulic pumps to open up, and one of the hydraulic pipes bursts and just starts spraying hot hydraulic mist into the hallway. It just malfunctions.
Does that mean the door starts closing?
No, the door is still open, but hydraulic mist is just spraying all around you guys.
Okay.
And give me just a second. I think we have to make a dexterity save. Okay. So it's actually a fortitude save. Were you guys all coming up to this door?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so everyone was here. So everyone make a fortitude save.
I
got 19, Taylor.
got
Sweet.
18.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out where the frick. I just like lost a whole set of dice. Oh, there they are. Anyways. 20 total.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So, so for all three of you, even with your environmental filters from your armor, there is a little bit of this hydraulic mist, which is kind of a weird greenish mist for some reason, very like a bright neon green, and some of it penetrates into your armor respiratory systems. Rand, Hackthor, and Dick Record, you guys have a type of armor called Second Skin, which so the environmental protections is essentially like a little see-through plasma bubble kind of shimmers around your guys' heads, rather than any physical armor. Jocko, your armor actually comes with is called Hidden Soldier armor, and it actually comes with like a full helmet. It's called Hidden Soldier because the idea is that none of you can actually be seen through the armor unless you take your helmet off, and it has a respirator on the front of it. So there is a little bit of this is the way, exactly. No one sees you take off your helmet. So a little bit of hydraulic mist does make it into the respiratory systems of all of your armor, but because you guys are just tough as nails, all of you are like, some breathing a little bit of hot mist never hurt anybody. Unfortunately, your piece does not have any respiratory filter. It's the mist gets on it, and it's just like, how is this happening? I don't even have lungs. And is a little, I guess, uncomfortable by the mist, but doesn't sustain any damage. However, the mist is getting all over your your little safety bubbles around your helmets, or on the lenses of your helmet. So unfortunately, no one can see very well. And Jocko, your infrared sensors are kind of just like the whole screen is just flaring up really bright with the hydraulic mist, and you guys are unable to really see anything. And I need
I should be able to make a check through the piece. I think I can he can make a perception check for me, I think.
Please do. Please make a perception check through your piece.
I don't know what his let me look and see if his stats are different than mine.
I don't think he has stats, so I would just basically give yourself basically use your perception, and essentially just say you can make one for you and one for him if you want.
Okay. Oh, okay. So he got that sucks. So he got a 19. I got a 9. Yeah.
Okay. So what happens is, in this mist, there's suddenly a dark shadow, and your piece says, "Look out behind you, kid!" And you take. Give me a second. You take 8 electricity damage. Suddenly, everyone hears just an enormous voltage sound. I need you to make a another fortitude save.
So I rolled a nat 20 on the save.
Nice.
Yeah, but the hit. So I took 8 damage.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that hurt.
And you feel a numbness spread like up and down your spine, but you are able to, which you think would have like incapacitated you, but you just have this true grit that keeps you keeps you up and moving. But you see this. You are able to sense that there is this big shadow in front of you, and that you just got severely shocked.
Oh, actually, my duster is like, I don't know if it's resistant or if it's immune to electricity.
It's resistant. So you take half damage. You take 4 electricity damage.
Okay, sweet. That's a little better.
Otherwise, that would be a lot.
Yeah.
I think that would have been all your stamina points.
Is it to my stamina or is it to hit points?
Stamina is essentially your buffer, your like shield against your hit points. And once your stamina runs out, you start losing actual hit points. You don't start suffering like actual bodily damage until your hit points start getting worn away. So, so essentially, you take 4 points. It's very shocking to your system, but you're still up and moving.
Oh, okay, got it.
And I guess this would be a good time to roll initiative.
I got a 2.
Okay.
17.
18 total. Dude, I wish I could roll well on computers, But...
Right? I guess this is where it counts. By the way, are you holding your piece now? Do you have it with you, or is it on your duster, or did you leave it on a wall?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't say that. I mean, like, if we're moving anywhere, I was just gonna pick it up and then have it just drawn.
I figured it was with you, but I just wanted to make sure in case I was missing something. Okay, so what happens next is you're like, so you got this little warning cry from your piece, and then you got shocked, and now everyone's kind of aware that there's some kind of big shadow in the mist, and then the shadow fades away, and you hear some light footsteps tread in front of you, and you hear a from across the room.
So who's first?
Dick, you got the highest. You had an 18.
Yeah. So I can't see the shadow anymore.
Right.
Okay. So how far into the room are we?
You had just opened the door and then got sprayed with mist. So technically, I think all of you guys are, as far as space-wise, you're still in that little thin hallway between the 2 double doors.
Okay, so I'm assuming nothing's like right in front of me. At least I can't tell, right? So I'm gonna shoot at the direction of like the movement that I heard, like the swish or whatever, the second thing you did.
Yeah, so and Ferris and Horde says, "Ready, men, charge!"
Yeah, I'm gonna freaking so I'm gonna shoot I think I've got like I assume this is like he can do like a shotgun round.
You can absolutely.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna do a shotgun round towards that sound.
Yeah, you hear Ferrison kind of loading the second chamber, the crowd control rounds, and you just aim and fire in front of you.
Yeah, I assume it's just a blind fire.
Essentially, yeah. So what happens is you create a 15-foot cone in front of yourself that gets showered with flechette rounds. Essentially, your long arm round is shattered into pieces, and he just sprays those pieces in front of him. And essentially, anything in there, concealed or not, should be hit. But you just hear a bunch of tings as they careen off the far wall, and you don't think that you hit any soft flesh or anything.
Okay, yeah, and then I'm gonna move out of the room with my move action, like back out of. Assuming like we're still getting sprayed, and so I'm gonna move away from that and like back into the lit room. This room.
So
in front of us is dark.
All the rooms have this kind of security lighting going on, the backup lighting. So it's poor visibility to begin with. For all rooms, it's kind of like this reddish light coming from floor lights. But yeah, so you can back up into the bloody room. Is where you're going? Where the thumb started?
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. Okay. So you back up about 10 feet, and you're out of the mist.
Mm-hmm. And then I think that's my turn.
Okay, Rand, you're still in the mist. You kind of vaguely saw a shadow, and then heard that shocking sound, and then you heard a shotgun go off, essentially, or a scattergun, I guess is the term they use in this game. And then you heard some footsteps.
Okay. So does my motion sensor show me where the footsteps went to?
Oh, it doesn't tell you
Or-
specifically where people went, but you could tell. Okay, so I guess you have blind sense within 5 feet, so you
Uh-huh.
could tell that Dick, from where he was right next to you, that he's the one who went back. You can tell that he went past you into the room that you guys came from. But there was another. I guess, another creature that came towards you, and then your device stopped buzzing when you heard footsteps going away. So you assume they ran away.
Okay. So it stopped buzzing, so they're more than 60 feet? Or...
So it buzzes when objects within 60 feet are coming towards you, and then doesn't buzz if they move another direction. And then it essentially tells you more accurately within 5 feet exactly where everyone's moving. So you could tell that where Dick went until he got more than 5 feet away from you. But the other creature, whatever it was, never came within 5 feet of you. So you kind of just got the sense of when it was coming towards you, and you get the sense that it went away based on the footsteps.
Okay. Is there can I see anything that might be able to turn off this mist?
You know what? You have I'll say your motion sensor giving you blind sense within 5 feet. You have a pretty good shot of finding the source of the pipe if you want to try and shut it off. Do you want to make a perception check?
Yeah.
Okay.
17 plus 4 is...
That's pretty good. So you're definitely able to find the source of the pipe, and if you want to do an engineering check to try and fix it, you can. I will just ask you, since you're coming towards the source, to make another fortitude save since you're getting closer to the source of the mist.
Okay. That was an 18 plus 1 is 19. And then for the other thing, the engineering check, is a 16 plus 5. So, 21.
So you're able to basically with your gear and tools, you're able to that you keep on your person. You're able to essentially reconnect the pipe to where it initially went in and burst from, and stop the mist from spraying out, the hydraulic mist. Also, with your fortitude, again, you're kind of breathing in a little bit of the mist through your protective bubble, but you're able to just kind of spit it out and keep going. Without suffering ill effects, and essentially the mist does stop spraying, and with 6 seconds later it dissipates enough that you guys can see. And so you guys see ahead of you there's still the empty room, and across the way you see double doors on the other side of the room have a little red light on the terminal where you access the door, that looks like it's locked.
Okay. And there's nobody else in the room?
Doesn't appear. Yeah, it doesn't appear that anything else in the room changed other than what you saw so far.
Okay.
Oh, I sorry. One other thing did change. Sorry, I should have mentioned this. Greg, when you fired into the room, the security sensors on either side of the door totally went off. And I forgot to mention it. Because that's exactly what they're there for, is to detect weapons being fired and stuff like that. So the alarms in the room are now going weep, 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 weep. Very loud and annoying.
So there's double doors to the right, and then there's double doors straight.
So there's double doors straight ahead, and then there are 2 separate single doors on the right wall.
Okay.
One looks like a restroom.
And all of these doors are closed?
Yeah, the double doors directly across from you appear to be locked. You're not sure about the 2 doors to the right.
Right.
I want to check the doors to the right.
Okay.
And I'd like to check the room for more writing.
Okay, yeah, it looks like there is. So once you kind of clear the mist away from your infrared sensors, you're able to see again. Let's see. You see that there is a poem written on the floor in more of this weird fluid splatter, and it says, "There are those who will hear and those who won't. The latter for slaughter and laughter and smoke."
I wonder if they know that doesn't rhyme.
You put your good marine training tactics to good use in critically analyzing a form of poetry and how much it sucks.
Yeah, it's bullcrap. I read the poem to everyone else, though.
Okay. So just once more for drama, there are those who will hear and those who won't. The latter for slaughter and laughter and smoke. So then, who's going over to the doors on the right?
Me.
Okay. Do you want to open the bathroom door or the other room door?
Bathroom first.
Bathroom first. Okay. Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys should be able to see the map now. Okay. In this small restroom, someone or something rampaged through one of its 2 stalls. The door of one stall hangs open and water is spraying outwards. The other stall's door appears jammed shut, its hinges bent. Yeah, so there's water first of all, the floor of this bathroom is just gushed with fluid, with water, mostly. There is a stall door that is jammed shut, a stall door that is hanging open, and water appears to be spewing out of probably a broken toilet. You can also see that the faucets also of the room have been kind of, or the sinks have kind of been smashed. So the faucets are also just gushing fluid, and it's all heading towards a drain in the floor, or a couple drains in the floor. And you can see that from the stall that is jammed shut, you can see that there is appears to be a significant amount of blood coming from under the stall doors, going towards the drain.
I just call out, like, is anybody in here? Anybody still alive?
You hear no answer. Would you like to would you like to look further or do any kind of interaction?
Yeah, I want to see if I can get that door open.
So you slosh through the room over to the door?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Make me an athletics check.
Athletic.
Do you have, by the way, I should ask, so obviously, Greg, we know you have your piece out. You said that you had it ready. Does anyone else have a certain weapon out?
I have the pulse gauntlet out.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, it wasn't like overtly clear which weapon I actually ended up taking out of that room.
Sure.
But I think I'm gonna go with that Ember thing.
The Dashko. Okay.
Dashko.
So you're holding that one. Yeah. So Ember Flame Dashko. So you're holding that, and then of course your cannon back is always at the ready.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So what do we get on the athletics check?
I got a 16, so 10 plus 6.
16. Okay. So yeah, you are able to wrench open the door. and let me share the image of the site that awaits you. You guys are gonna like it.
Yikes.
Oh.
So,
Oh.
so you see essentially the remains of two people. At least from what you can tell, there is a man's head and a woman's head stacked on top of some very neat-looking meat cubes. Hard to tell what meat that originated from. That are wrapped up to keep the shape of the cubes, but also to keep the clothes still on them. So the man has a work shirt and some trousers that are still around. That are still around the cubes that kind of make up his quote unquote legs. And then the woman has a blouse and a work skirt, kind of fashioned around her two meat cube quote unquote legs. You can see that they also both have some lanyards around their necks, not featured in the image.
We'll look at the lanyards.
Okay. So the lanyards, when you pull on them, are attached to ID badges that are in their shirt pockets. For the man, the ID badge says Riger Manich, loading dock manager. And for the woman, the badge says Shara Tonqui, activities liaison.
Interesting.
Oh, and then of course there's written in some sort of red substance. What could it be? Is appears to be painted on the stall saying "Love is ... And they've got sausage arms.
Yeah. Wow. I'll pocket the cards.
Okay.
And I'll go out and I'll be like, there is a great evil here. We need to figure out what it is.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Also, you see that on the opposite side of the room, there's like panels and stuff here in the room, but nothing necessarily that sparks your interest right now, I don't think.
Yeah, no, it's a bathroom.
Okay. All right, so you come out sopping wet, and what do you guys want to do now?
We could check the other door.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's check the other door.
All right, so I go up to the other door, and I open it.
All right, let me go ahead. Yeah, no worries. Let me go ahead and share the updated map. So this room.
So can I ask, what direction did the sound that I fired towards? Where did I shoot at?
Oh, you shot towards the far wall with the other double doors that look locked.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go up. Oh yeah, let's just look at and while they're in that other room, I'm gonna look at like the panel for these doors.
Sure.
FYI.
Like, what do you mean the panel? The access?
Yeah.
The control pad.
So you opened the other room. It looks like it was once a communal rest area. Bunks are lining the walls. Let's see. Sorry, bunks once lined the walls of this communal rest area. Someone or something tore them out, leaving a mass of bent metal and walls. And the walls stained in human fluids of varying pedigrees. I guess the bunks are kind of still here, just like they used to be on the wall. So it looks like the room is full of a bunch of junk and other things.
Interesting. Can I search through to see if there's anything useful?
Absolutely. Make an acrobatics check just to get through this room for how full of junk it is.
Oof. Good thing I have it +7. I got 11.
Okay. So you're kind of like climbing up on top of a stack of a couple of bunks with a hope chest on top, and then you reach the other side and kind of tumble off and fall to the ground. And when you look up, you are eye to eye with what appears to be an extremely hungry thunk.
Oh,
And it lets out a stomach churning wail and appears very surprised and bolts from its hiding spot where it was hiding under some junk, and tries to get out right over you first.
mhm.
So I think. Oh, so this requires both a reflex save, or I guess first a will save, and then a reflex save.
Will save. 19 on the will save.
Cool. You were unaffected by its stomach churning wail.
And then a 15 on the reflex save.
Let me see. That is almost exactly enough. So you managed to scramble mostly out of the way. You're going to take half damage from it basically trampling over you. Let's see. 3 bludgeoning damage.
3.
Yep, that's the total after I halved it. 3 bludgeoning damage as it tries to trample over you, and it knocks over a bunch of furniture and things like that. Actually, I'd say that's what happens, is it's knocking over a bunch of furniture, you get out of the way of the thunk, but that big old hope chest falls down and knocks on you, and that's what causes the 3 bludgeoning damage. And then
Okay.
it manages to get out of the room into the big security room where everyone else is.
Do I get an attack of opportunity?
You do get an attack of opportunity with... Sorry, which weapon did you have?
I had
The
pulse
gauntlet. That's
yeah.
right. Yeah, go ahead. Roll for an attack with the pulse gauntlet.
What do I add to it?
So it's
+2?
it's a melee attack. So yeah, you add a +2.
Okay, so it's just a 15.
That hits
Okay, and then it's
against
a
its kinetic AC.
6. 4 on the D6.
And then you add 2 for your strength.
So that's 6 damage.
Okay. Does it do sonic damage? Oh, here we go. Pulse gauntlet. Thunderstrike pulse gauntlet. So it's bludgeoning and sonic damage. So you definitely impact the side of the thing, and you actually, because it's so thin and starved looking, you think you actually crack a couple ribs, but it continues squealing and jumps out into the security room, where we find our other 2 heroes. You guys go ahead of it in the initiative. It looks badly injured and hungry, and looks like it's panicked and gonna run over whoever it needs to get out of here. Dick, if you're there, you're up next.
Aren't the doors we came in open still?
Yes.
Alright, I look at the thunk, and then I look over to the open doors, and then I go back to working on the panel for the doors that are shut.
Okay. Make me a computers check.
Yeah. That's a 14.
Okay. So you are able to tell that the door. So I don't think that's high enough to unlock the door, but it's enough to tell that the computer or that the door has been locked. I guess it says the door was locked by admin programming or something like that.
Okay. What happens if I shoot the control panel?
You can do that.
I would assume that the... Okay, yeah. I don't shoot it, but I want to say that the P shoots it next round. Ferris and Horde.
Okay, Jocko, you also see this hungry thunk that jumped into the room. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, so I kind of take from my cohort's lead, and I just try to kind of get out of its way and let it try to
Okay.
find the open door. You know, it's like a bat. You just gotta open the
Yeah.
door and wait for it to leave.
Yeah. Okay. Like a bat. Okay. Yeah. So the funk. If both of you guys are trying to just get out of its way as far as you can, it heads towards the open door and seems to scramble out. And you just hear it also rampaging around the rest of the room, rampaging around other parts of the loading dock and stuff like that.
Freaking thunks.
So yeah, so Dick, you're getting. I guess you're getting ready to shoot you're getting ready for Ferris and Horde to shoot the panel.
Yeah, it seems to like go with one of his traits is like
Door kicker.
door kicker. Yeah.
Yeah,
And he like
exactly.
rules. What rules? So I would think he would like shoot the
Yeah, exactly.
control panel.
Yeah, so you're like working with the electronics, trying to be like, there's got to be a way to pick this lock, and your piece just goes, "Let me teach you a thing or two about lock picking," and he just goes off and blows a hole in the panel. And let's see. So you blow a hole open, and 3 things happen simultaneously. You blow a hole through the panel. All the emergency lights in the room just flicker and flare, and you can see sparks shooting out of the broken light bulbs from overhead, and it kind of creates this strobe-like effect throughout the room. And you also hear some glass from above, from the broken lights, shattering as the sparks are kind of shooting across it, and you hear it tinkling to the ground. Some glass actually falls onto Jocko from the ceiling. The second thing that happens is that the door slides open, and I need you to make a perception check, Dick.
Yeah. That is an 18.
Okay. So let me roll against that, because there is a stiff penalty to vision because of the strobe light kind of effect going on. So the door opens, and you can see that the room beyond is very dark, and there is a tall shape, a tall creature that you see directly in front of you, like standing just on the other side of the door. And what you manage to see in the couple seconds that it takes is he reaches out with some kind of device that looks like kind of looks about the size and shape in his hand of like a lightsaber, like it's a long thin tube-like device, and he presses a button on it, and a thick cable or wire ejects out from it and touches you, and again, you feel that same shocking sensation. And this time, 10 points of electric damage jolt through your body. Since you're resistant to it, it cuts down to 5. And I need you to make another fortitude save.
$17.
Okay. The last time you did the fortitude save, you got a nat 20, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So this time what happens is there's this shocking sensation that goes through your body, and you realize that from back when you were on the slingshot ferry and you got doused in like suds and cleaning fluid and stuff like that, and it got all over your clothes, it made you kind of wet, and it actually gave you what's called the electroconductive condition, which gives a penalty to saves against shocking attacks, and so this time it's actually enough that the shocking sensation goes throughout your body and it shoots in your spine, and you are essentially paralyzed. And this creature grabs you by the feet as you're falling to the floor, pulls you through the door, and you actually manage to see the detail that you can see is that without playing with it physically, he manages to close the door behind you as he drags you off into the shadows.
Oh!
And I will say, even with the penalty to the strobe lights and everything, you are able to see well enough that I will show you what you see of this creature.
Show
Here we
me,
go.
show me. Oh, it's him.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Hang on. Let me look at something.
Sure. Yeah, I think I just gave you something to look at.
Yeah, you gave me something real scary to look at. I don't want scary things to look at.
So that happened. Rand, you were in the junk room, and the thunk just left, and you hear it like crashing around further down the corridors and stuff like that. And then you managed to make it out of that room, if that's your intent, back into the security room, and you see kind of like this strobe-like effect of all the lights going off and stuff like that. Can you make me a perception check?
Yeah. What is my perception? That is a 10.
Okay. So with the strobe lights and everything, 10 penalty to perception checks. So it's actually a 0. So essentially, you come out here, and the blinding lights are so disorienting that you can't see anything that's going on in the room. Similarly to Jocko, I'll have you make a perception check as well. But your infrared light, that the sensors that you have built into your armor, are completely just overwhelmed by these strobing lights. So that's unfortunately not going to help in this situation.
Why would they be overwhelmed? Like if it's heat based.
That's actually a pretty good argument. So there's sparking coming from the ceiling lights. There's light. There's bright light coming on and off from the lights, just kind of flickering and flaring in and out. But that's a good reason. They say in the adventure that dark vision is, but you have a different type of dark vision. You have infrared vision. So I'll say you only get a -5 instead of a -10.
Okay. So I'll just roll a perception then.
Yeah.
All right. I got 12. Wait, do I have any modifiers?
I think you do. Your perception is. Oh yeah, you have +7.
Oh, sick. So I got 19 total.
Your perceptives I'll get out. So with the -5, that gives you 14. That's enough to see that you can see that Rand came out and is now in the room, and you were also able to see that Dick. Essentially, what you see is he opened the door, fell over, and then was like dragged out of the door, much like a horror movie. But you weren't able to see what actually pulled him out, but you're aware of the fact that some force kind of grabbed your friend and took him away, and then the door closed behind him.
Okay. Well, as is my imperative with my job, I go to the door and I try to open it. I try to follow.
Okay. So I'm going to say that the assailant didn't have time to lock the door behind him this time, although he was able to close it. And since you're acting quickly enough, before he's able to lock it, you are able to open the door, and you see. Let me see. Oh man, there's just a straight shot of double doors all over the place. Let me share the map so you can see what we see so far.
Awesome. Also, I'm probably going to have to find a good stopping spot relatively soon.
Okay, no worries. We'll get there soon. So there's another set of double doors.
Jeez.
And actually, you can't. So shoot, I should have adjusted the map before I shared it. So there is also a single door. So you see a hallway in front of you. There's a pair of double doors, and then there is a single door to the far left and to the far right down the hallway.
Okay, that aren't visible in the map.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And what's the visibility like in this new room that I'm going into?
It doesn't have the same strobe light thing that's going on. It just has those. It has those
Security.
dim security lights, but you can see well enough in this room. Let me.
Okay.
Give me a quick second.
So-
Yeah, essentially, this is just an open hallway. There's nothing notable in the room,
Okay.
except that you can see in your dark vision that there is fluid written on the floor that says "Welcome the gift."
All right. So they're not in this room.
Right.
I'm not sure which door they went through. But they
Right.
must have moved relatively quickly. I figure they must have moved relatively quickly in order to get away from me. So I moved to the double doors directly across.
Okay. These doors were not able to be locked, but they were closed. I will say that using the rest of your actions for your turn, you're able to open the door. So I'll show you what we see beyond that, and I will try to adjust the map a little bit. And then, Remington, what are you doing while this is going on? You can't see very well.
I think I'm following.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and I will say that your motion sensor allows you to do that and follow him as long as you're following close behind him. While even though you can't see very well.
Okay. Yeah, I'm using that to kind of figure out where he is and stay with him because I don't want all of us to get separated.
Right. Okay, here we go. So you open up into another room. This is a larger room than I think any of the ones that you've been in that you've seen so far. There's some crates, and there is a large desk. Something scored the metal nameplate above the door, almost obliterating the words "Shipping Department" beneath an irritated nest of irregular scratches. Inside this large open room, packages litter the floor. Large self-sealing canvas bags squat in the far left corner, stacked 2 and 3 high, while water seeps from under a door on the far left wall. On the right side of the room, a counter runs the length of the wall, and security glass rises above it to the ceiling. Behind this counter, another door exits the room. Beside the door, a sign hangs crookedly, reading, "Your lack of planning is not our emergency." The only visible way behind the counter is a 5-foot section nearest the wall with no glass above or counter below, just a countertop that hinges and lifts to allow passage, blocking the way. I'm going to share a picture of that in just a second. Here we go.
That's the guy, or the.
This is what you can see sitting at
Okay.
essentially the service desk. Yeah.
Okay.
So sitting behind the counter, propped up in a chair, is a human body, partially unbuttoned blue jumpsuit. Its decomposing hands rest palm down on the counter, and a large round thunk's head squats on the corpse's shoulders. Dark splatter, thunk or human is hard to say, coagulates below the chin, hardening among graying chest hairs like droplets of gummy maroon dew as the thunk's shrunken black eye holes stare on.
Goodness.
So essentially, this is kind of like bank teller desk looking thing. It's basically this was the person for the shipping department that like answers questions and takes people's orders and stuff like that. So there's all this security glass and stuff like that. It looks like the only way to get behind the counter is by going through that hinge where the body is propped up there.
And I can't see anybody else in the room.
Make me a perception check.
All right, 18 plus 7, so 25.
Whew, you can see everything.
Yeah.
Here's what here's what you can tell. You don't see anyone else in the room, but you do see that there's like plenty of blood and water on the floor and stuff like that. And you can see that it looks like there has been a lot of like coagulated blood, and like most of it should be old and undisturbed for a while. But you can see that there has been a recent disturbance of a trail from the door that you just opened, essentially towards where that body is propped up. So it looks like something was recently, someone or something was recently dragged through the blood and stuff like that over towards that entrance.
Towards the hinging,
The door, yeah.
yeah, the hinging door thing.
Let's go that way.
And okay, so we've got that, and then meanwhile, while that's going on, I will say that. So, Dick, you are aware of this while you've been essentially paralyzed from this shocking blast. You are uncomfortably aware of the sensation of essentially being dragged feet first across some rough ground, and you can kind of like feel your coat bunching up under you, and you feel the sensation of being dragged through these dark rooms while stars are kind of flashing in your eyes. And you're getting some kind of wet stuff all clogged up on your torso. You can feel that it's getting like clogged up building up on your coat and stuff like that. You feel yourself getting lifted up off the floor, and your head hangs on some kind of wooden surface. And you hear a bunch of like creaking and swooshing as doors are being opened, and this is all happening so fast for you. It feels kind of weird for monstrously large person or creature that's dragging you. It's kind of strange to you how fast it can be moving, and you finally are brought into essentially this room that looks like an absolute nightmare, and you feel yourself being slapped on top of a table, and you feel you're kind of like twitching your hands and starting to try and get feeling back as you feel your arms, your wrists, and your ankles being restrained somehow. Like you feel this tight sensation gripping around them, and as your vision is starting to come back to you, you're looking around the room with its dim red security lights, and you see like against the wall and on the floor, there's all this. You see there's just blood and gore spattered all over the place. You see right next to your head what looks to be like half of what used to be a human hand that has just been sawed into pieces right next to your head. And you see thunk parts and human parts just kind of like variously scattered and accumulated across the room. Make me a perception check to see what other details you can notice.
10.
Total?
Yeah.
This room, so all the other rooms appeared to have just wrecked stuff, and you guys were lucky to find some weapons left behind, but it seems like everything in this area has kind of taken a beating. This seems to be the one room where it looks like there seems to be maybe some functioning equipment that hasn't been all beat up, but with your stars in your eyes, you're having a hard time seeing it. But you do look up, and you are able to see that face of the person who appears to be tying you down. And the description here is of a grotesque, corpulent man comes into your view. His shaven head and midnight blue slaughterman's apron, slicked with both perspiration and red bits of gore. In his massive hands, well, actually, you must have just set this down. His massive hands were holding this massive double-bladed saw, designed more for cutting slabs of meat than combat, with the steely teeth of its 12-inch circular blades nearly touching where they rip. It looks like maybe he's let himself go from last time you saw his visage. You can tell that it does match the person that you saw in the welcome video, Bargus Thrask, the assistant loading dock manager, and it looks like you've finally come face to face with your quarry. I will also tell you that where you find yourself is labeled in this adventure book, Big Boy's Murder Closet.
Big Boy's Murder Closet. Freak.
Yep.
Wait, so can I talk?
You
Can I
can talk.
talk right now?
Although I think let me just
Okay.
So you're finding yourself a murder closet, still mostly paralyzed, starting to kind of regain some feeling. Our two other friends, Rand and Jocko, have just made their way into the shipping department, and they're pretty sure that you were recently dragged through here, hot on the trails of this monstrous being who's just brought you into apparently a small closet for murder. I'm gonna say typically what it says is when you get shocked and paralyzed, you drop all your belongings. But I'm gonna say that because your piece is so special, that it probably attached itself to your duster as you fell, kind of automatically as a reflex. And for once in its life, it seems to be actually staying quiet. And you can talk, but I think given the previous comment, we'll probably kind of cut around here. But yeah, you can talk if you want to say something.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so in that case, that's where we'll give it a rest, as we've kind of reached a peak moment. And I guess we can pick up another day. Do you guys have any comments or feedback so far?
I don't want to get sawed in half by Big Boy in his murder closet.
I'll take that into account.
So far it's been pretty fun.
Good.
Yeah, I like Discord. It's cool that you can keep sharing and updating the map and send pictures, and I think it's a really cool format. The art in this is crazy.
I know. That's probably my favorite part is the art. It's so intense.
It's freaky deaky is what it is.
Agreed.
I feel like it's some like Saw and original or Saw and Aliens mashup.
Yeah, I kind of get that feel.
Picture reminds me of Aliens.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely the motion detector.
Oh
They've
yeah,
got strapped to their gun. Well, I guess they use it in both. They've got the little motion detector in the first one too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Let me know when we're gonna pick this back up. And I'll do what I can. It was fun to meet you guys.
Yeah, you too.
And I will talk to you next time.
All right, cool.
Hey, thanks a ton, Taylor. You're the best.
Okay, yeah. Hope you guys had fun.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, I know it was fun.
I'm excited to do combat when we get to it.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that's going to happen very soon.
Good.
Hopefully, because it means if I'm fighting, I'm not dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I think we'll get the chance to have some combat for everyone.
Hell yeah!